If you're having problems in your current relationship, or you've had a series of bad relationships, then the problem might not be with you. Rather, it could be with your internal geometry. To explain that, I want to draw on this 11th century Indian statue called the Ardhanarishvara, which means half man, half woman. I also want to draw on the works of Carl Jung to answer 3 questions. Why do we feel empty inside? Something that prompts us to find a soulmate. Secondly, what do we often do when we find somebody, and what destructive sequence of events do we set in motion? And then finally, I want to get into how can we break out of this cycle. So let's get right to it. So why do we feel empty inside? So to understand this, let's look at the Ardhanarishvara, which means half man, half woman. On the left-hand side of the body is the body of Lord Shiva, which is the body of the erect phallus. And the right side is his eternal consort, goddess Parvati, which is the more feminine side. Now Shiva represents consciousness and stillness, and Parvati represents dynamism and creative energy. Carl Jung called the masculine energy the animus and the feminine energy the anima. And he said that men often ignore the anima within their beings, and women often ignore the animus within their beings. When you forget that you are a Ardhanarishvara, which is a composite of man and woman, then all sorts of nasty things begin to happen. For example, you've seen men who say things like, "Hey!" and they go to sports bars and they say, "Huge!" And then they ignore the side of their personality that is warmer, intuitive, seeking relatedness with others. But it doesn't go away. And when you ignore the side of your personality, all these frustrations keep bottling up. And then one day, you're a man, you're at work, you get some Slack message or someone says something, and then you lose your shit and you go bananas. So that is why we feel empty inside, because we ignore a very important part of our beings. We aren't exclusively male or exclusively female, we are both. Now the ancient Indians brought this to light in a very beautiful story. So there's this ancient sage called Bhringi, is a total bro, and all he does is to worship Lord Shiva. And he keeps ignoring goddess Parvati. And one day when Shiva and Parvati are next to each other, as they always are, he becomes a beetle and he tries to, carve a division between them. And Parvati gets really upset and she says, "You know what? You're all this masculine logic, so I'm going to reduce you to your essential structure." And she strips away the flesh from his body and he becomes a skeleton. And then he's lying on the ground all willy-nilly. And Shiva takes compassion on him and says, "You know what, Bhringi? I'm going to give you a third leg or crutch, and this will allow you to walk around." This brings us to the second point, which deals with the cycle of destruction that we put in place when we get into relationships. We are all looking for the crutch. And Shiva is not on DoorDash. He's not, zipping around giving crutches to men. So what do? We often take a woman and we project our anima on her. And that's why at the start of many relationships, men are just gaga over women, because they've taken this anima that they don't see within themselves and they project it on to a woman. Now they say, "Oh, she's so warm, she's so kind, she's so loving, she's just amazing." But then one day the woman doesn't have breakfast or she has a headache and the man says something like, "Hey, let's go hiking." And the woman says, "Just buzz off." And this woman that he's put on this pedestal, that pedestal shatters and he sees that she's just another human being. And the reverse happens with women too, who ignore their animus. The same sequence of events plays out, but in reverse. Now, what can we do to end this cycle of destruction and to have long and fulfilling relationships? So the thing is, we have to recognize that we are Ardhanarishvara. And there is a female side to our personality. So the next time we feel ourselves getting upset at somebody, we should take a pause and look within ourselves. And there we will unlock a very simple truth, that in rom-coms and romantic novels and movies, people say stuff like, "You complete me." But no one completes anyone. We are all complete within yourself. And a lasting relationship happens when you, as a complete person, engage with somebody else who is also a complete person, and then you come together and form this awesome complete couple. So there we go. If you're a man and you find yourself getting irritated at your significant other who happens to be a woman, then instead of getting just, all mad, look within yourself and just really try to discern if you are asking her to carry your water. And the converse is true for women. Instead of saying all men are like this, connect with the animus inside your being, connect with the logical part of your being, and then maybe make a more nuanced statement. And this is what Carl Jung used to advise both men and women when it came to relationships. And this is what Parvati advised Bhringi, but her method of therapy was a little more extreme. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing for this channel if you like this video, because I'm going to be posting a lot about Indian history, Buddhism, mythology. If it interests you, check out this video on this ancient Mauryan polish. It's these folk 2500 years ago. They achieved this amazing polish on sandstone, so you can stand in a cave and see yourself reflected. And the science behind it is being made apparent to scientists only now. So with that, I thank you for your time and for sticking with me till the end of this video. Have a lovely week and enjoy the next 7 days that lie ahead. Bye.